YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back. Today I'm ranking the top 32 NFL edge rushers for the 2022 season. A lot of good ones even left off this list. There's just so much talent in today's NFL. Recently did interior defensive lineman rankings. Check that out. We got a playlist full of these position/player rankings up on the channel in that playlist. So check it out. We're going to finish out the defense here maybe early next week. So excited about that. Excited about this video. A lot of good players in this one, like I said. But join us for all that content. Like, subscribe to notifications on. Super followers on Twitter are getting bonus rankings. Still, we'll get the best of the rest from the interior defensive linemen. And then to go along with this video, the edge rushers as well. And exclusive content for sure. More exclusive content to come on that for the super followers there on Twitter, which we're much appreciated for everyone who's signing up for that already. But everybody on Twitter, news, rumors, updates, have you guys kind of playing along with all these videos, rank these 6 pass rushers for the season. I like all the comments, some different rankings there. Always fun to interact with everyone and see what they got for us. Top 32, predicting this upcoming season. Very tough to split a lot of these guys up. I said on Twitter, I think there's like 18 guys. My top 18 like feel like top 10 guys. It doesn't really make sense. It kind of does. It's just like tough to, they all feel like that talent level, like they belong in the top 10. Marcus Davenport at 32, who's impressed last year. He's very talented if healthy. That's kind of the question with him. Can he stay healthy? For a full season, but was very impressed with him last year, so maybe he's kind of getting going now. Leonard Floyd at 31, seems like he is getting better maybe since his Bears days there. Definitely with the Rams, definitely helped that he has Aaron Donald there, but seems to make some impact plays as well. Solid in run support, which we once thought maybe he wouldn't be. So Floyd comes in at 31. Carl Lawson at 30, an extremely tough one to rank. I snuck him in here. We were excited to watch him with the Jets last year. We didn't get to see that. Was really excited to watch him in that defense. I think he could thrive in that. He was kind of an upside project, even though he was productive as it was, but not super productive. But that's why it's tough. So coming off the injury, that defense is better, though. They added other pass rushers. Jermaine Johnson, a guy that maybe just missed this list. So I threw Lawson in here. I'm excited to watch him. Rookie here, Aiden Hutchinson. Hutchinson's tough to rank, too, because I can see him. Having an okay season. He had one insane year. It was an insane year, but one really good year at Michigan. So could it take some adjustment here? But I also could see like a insanely high sack number for him. There's a scenario in my head that I can see that where we're talking about him top 10 already. So it's pretty tough here, but so many good pass rushers. Tough to rank the rookie, even though we're predicting this upcoming year, and I think some of these guys would be good. It's tough to rank them extremely high. But I have Kayvon Thibodeau next, so the rookies back-to-back. Kayvon Thibodeau was my #1 player overall in the draft, so I'm kind of going to stick to that when ranking these pass rushers here. And Trayvon Walker I like too. I actually had him ahead of Hutchinson, but raw prospect, going to play a little bit interior as well as the edge, so maybe it won't be super productive year one. If he is, that is fantastic because he's got a bright future. But Thibodeau at 28. The only thing with this is Don Martindale, their new defensive coordinator, likes to drop the pass rushers in coverage a bit, so it kind of limits the sack production. That's the only thing. But Thibodeau could make some plays in coverage, but I think he'll be productive right out the gate. Has that elite get off, that which makes him pro ready in my opinion. DeMarcus Lawrence at 27, another one that's extremely tough to rank. Can he stay healthy? Doesn't really seem the same, maybe because of the injuries, but doesn't seem the same as when before he got that contract as well. But he's still very talented. If he stays healthy, then maybe we can get that old DeMarcus Lawrence back. Another former Cowboy, Randy Gregory here at 26 felt like he was starting, and not super productive last year, but really felt like he was starting to get going there. So going to the Broncos here, playing with that defense, playing with Bradley Chubb, maybe he can kind of continue. Feels like an upside guy still, even though it's kind of been around for a bit. Hasn't had too many seasons under his belt. That'd be why. Hassan Reddick of the Eagles now, they're a big free agency signing at 25. Tough one to rank, and one of those guys that I'm very curious to watch. I'm very excited to watch because how curious I am how Reddick's going to be, and mainly what the Eagles have planned, because Reddick has been a guy that has been very productive off the edge, getting after the quarterback in a very heavy blitz scheme, kind of feasting off the blitz. Eagles did not blitz last year, bottom of the NFL, them and the Raiders. And with this signing, I'm assuming they want to blitz more and they want to get creative. It sounds like they're going to use Reddick off the edge and maybe like a linebacker role, maybe to blitz him as well. Maybe like a Micah Parsons, who am ranking with the linebackers because he played a little bit more snaps at linebacker, but it's a phenomenal pass rusher. But Reddick, to me, is much better pass rusher than off-ball linebacker, but that's just me. So we'll see. I'm very curious to see how that works with the Eagles. With that defensive line talent, he should be pretty productive. Brandon Graham coming back, who maybe is declining, but coming back, and having Josh Sweat is pretty big as well, and they have a very good interior. So Eagles are that team. They got, for the defensive line, they got a number of guys up there that are pretty talented. Next up, Yannick Ngakoue comes in at 24, goes from the Raiders. He's kind of jumping around teams like crazy now, but he's a talented pass rusher. Doesn't help a whole lot stopping a run, but very talented getting after the quarterback. And the Colts, it's kind of been some time since they had like a legit pass rusher out there that's going to get after the quarterback. So I'm excited to see Ngakoue with guys like Pay. Could he take that next step? And Odengbo, guys like that. Could the young guys take a next step? Now that they got Ngakoue in here. So I'm excited to see how that works out. It's a little bit different. New team for Ngakoue, but a little bit different look for the Colts there. Jalen Phillips, who I was very high on out of Miami, very much so was impressive last year, so I'm very excited about him, very excited about his future, so he's climbing up here. The Dolphins' second-year pass rusher comes at 23. Bradley Chubb, this is kind of it for him. He's got to stay healthy this year. That's kind of been the big question. He could be so good. Like, he could be – most people probably wouldn't even rank him top 32 right now just because you can't trust him to stay healthy, but – I have to rank him in here because if he stays healthy, I think Chubb could be elite. I really do. Maybe that's bold, but I think he can be elite. Just still kind of going off that prospect evaluation. He's just super talented. So I really want to see him stay healthy. Chubb and Gregory. Yeah, two guys, and maybe some question marks there with them. Will Chubb stay healthy? Gregory, will we get the full Gregory there? Is he actually improving? So we'll see. So Broncos, curious to see how the pass rush duo works out. Josh Allen at 21. Very good young pass rusher that I thought stepped up a bit last year, especially against Josh Allen and the Bills. If he plays them, which is impressive because that's a damn good team, damn good quarterback. If he plays just plays Josh Allen every week, then we talk about Josh Allen number one here on this list. But I feel like there's going to be a year coming. It could be this year where he just really breaks out, and maybe we throw Josh Allen in that conversation of the top 10 guys. I feel it. It could be this year. It's tough to predict him higher than some guys that we know are better, but I kind of feel it coming. It's just, is it going to be this year? Is it going to be next year? We'll see. Kind of a lot of guys like that. On the top 20, Bud Dupree. I'm a Bud Dupree fan. I think most people kind of go off production. Bud Dupree, he missed some games last year, doesn't have a ton of production, but this is a guy that creates for, it's one of those unique pass rushers that creates for the rest of his teammates, and we saw that with the Titans too. Dupree's in, other guys are feasting. He's kind of a pre-snap nightmare, kind of the alignment and what he can do. Dropping in coverage too is very impressive. So I'm probably more of a Dupree guy. I'm just a big fan of those pass rushers that kind of create for their teammates and create a problem pre-snap, on the line of scrimmage there. So Bud Dupree at 20, hopefully stays healthy and we can see more production this year. I think we could definitely see that. Chase Young did get injured last year, but he was pretty disappointing in the small sample size we got. Now that was probably my worst prediction last year. I predicted Chase Young to be number 1 last year, so that was probably my worst prediction. Maybe ever. But he did get hurt, but he wasn't going to be even close to 1 based on the way he was playing. Stops the run at a pretty high level. I would expect better pass rush reps, so maybe he kind of gets going this year. It's tough to fully invest right now, but is another one of those guys that one of these years, maybe it's not this year, maybe it's not next year, maybe it is next year, where he puts himself in that elite category that we all kind of really know deep down that he can be. Matthew Judon at 18, based off the first half of the year last year, looked like a top 5 guy, maybe, a defensive player of the year candidate, was doing a fantastic job getting after the quarterback, being able to get after the quarterback a little bit more than he did in Baltimore, but yeah, kind of came back down to earth at the end of the year, even though he still had a phenomenal year. Mainly just kind of one of those pass rushes that you're going to get some good reps around the outside, getting after the quarterback and maybe dropping back in coverage here and there. So not a whole lot more compared to the top tier guys. Robert Quinn, easily the hardest guy to rank for sure. Something I learned about Robert Quinn is with projections, do not base things off the previous season. That's kind of, when you think he's like, okay, he's not that good, and they all see he has a ridiculous year. Okay, that's the guy we thought he was going to be, coming out of college, and here we go. And then, no, he has a down year. So, and on top of that, is he going to play? Is he going to play for the Bears? What's going on there? He could be better if he goes to maybe another team, but he seemed really good without Khalil Mack last year. So, such a tough projection. The man had 18.5 sacks last year. He's definitely top 10. It's just such a tough projection. A little inconsistent. Is he going to? I would imagine he plays football this year, but what's going on? Trade talks with him. So, very tough one. Very tough one. Had a hard time with him. Rashawn Gary at 16 was kind of known as, maybe not me, but some people were maybe saying, is he a bust? Kind of a question, but it was definitely too early to make that statement. But then last year he had a very solid year, just under double-digit sacks. So I'd like to see him to kind of get up there a little bit more, because that Packers defense can be really good. Can they get the sack numbers higher? But equally as effective stopping the run as well. So a bright young talent here that's finally getting going. So can he continue that though, or is he going to go back? I wouldn't imagine he goes back to where he was. Harold Landry, who I liked a lot coming out of Boston College, is really taking off now. I had a very productive year last year. See the contract he gets for a reason. Just so good on that outside. Around the outside, that dip, that bend move is very, very good. So another bright young talent here. And the Titans defense really took off last year, and he was very productive for them. Trey Hendrickson was very productive for the Bengals there. Even, going down to that Chiefs game and the, AFC Championship game, they started smart, very smart. They started only rushing 3 because they, beat the Chiefs, want to drop more guys in coverage, keep focus on Hill and Kelsey. And even with rushing 3, Hendrickson was still getting pressure, which is pretty tough to do. Some double teams in there. So very powerful, very consistent now, it seems, with the sack totals for sure. So see if we can do it again. Bengals just do a really good job developing and coaching these defensive linemen here. Shaq Barrett at 13, the Buccaneers, broke out a few years ago, and he continues to produce. Very speedy, quick, off the outside. One of the more impressive guys in that category. Looks like it's him and Joe Tryon moving forward, which we kind of figured, as it was there. So he's at 13. We're on the top 12. I got Brian Burns at 12. I'm a big Brian Burns fan. Maybe a little underwhelming last year. The year before, he was a little bit better, and he was very close to having a lot more sacks than he did, because he was just, I couldn't believe it. Like, this close so many times. I feel like he had sacks taken away because of weird penalties as well. So this guy's kind of on the fringe of going completely crazy. Wouldn't surprise me if Brian Burns, the guy, leads the league in sacks one day. So big. No Hassan Reddick this year. Let's see if they sign somebody else, like a Carlos Dunlap, perhaps. It makes sense. They did bring him in for a visit as well, but that was some time ago. But Burns, yeah, I like him. I like his upside. Cam Jordan still rolling. He comes in at number 11 of the Saints. Yeah, just still staying pretty damn consistent there. Maybe not quite as good as he was a few years ago, but same with Chandler Jones now on the Raiders. That's going to be a lot of fun. Max Crosby, Chandler Jones, just super consistent. He was insane to start the year, like another one of those guys where it's like, is he a defensive MVP, defensive player of the year? Then kind of went a little quiet, but I'm excited to watch him, with Crosby. Von Miller at number 9. Yeah, how many games we can see Von Miller play in a regular season? I guess that's the question there, but super talented. He's going to be big time for the Bills in the playoffs. It's another one of those where it's like these videos are kind of like how they will play this year, obviously, and what makes up most of the year, the regular season. And that's where guys like this, like Von Miller, probably if we're just starting or not based on the entire year, like a Super Bowl or a one big game, probably rank Von Miller in the top 4 or 3, something like that. But we'll see how many games he plays in the regular season. I don't see why not all of them really, but exactly what the Bills needed. Because they've been able to get pressure. They just haven't been able to get the quarterback down a whole lot, as much as you would like them to for a contender. So this could definitely help the Buffalo Bills. A reminder that we have super follows available now on Twitter. You get exclusive content, a lot planned for during the season. But right now with these videos, you're getting bonus rankings. We'll do the best of the rest for the pass rushers. A lot of good ones still. Guys like Marcus Golden, who isn't really feasting off Chandler Jones, so will he be as productive? A lot of young guys for sure it's just missed the cut, so it's pretty tough to leave those guys out. So a lot of good ones still left. We still got to do this for interior defensive lineman for our super followers as well. That's coming just a little bit behind schedule this week, a little bit. Top 8. I got Max Crosby at number 8. Fantastic year last year. If I had to nitpick or what I want him to do to get bumped up a little bit more is, finish out, the plays, which he's definitely trying to. He's a high motor guy, but gets all these pressures, but doesn't really match the sacks. And, pressure could be just as important as sacks, or if not more, but you want to consistently get to the quarterback, which he did get to the quarterback. Just want to see the sack totals go up a little bit. Very good stopping the run as well, so it's another bright young star here, Max Crosby. We actually got 2 Vikings in a row here, and the question with these guys are, will they stay healthy? Since ZA'DARIUS Smith out all of last year, he played 1 game, didn't start in that game, but before that, there wasn't really any major concern, and I'm a big ZA'DARIUS Smith fan. I've been a big fan of his. He's another one of those guys that creates for his teammates. He aligns in so many different spots. He can rush from so many different spots, and then on top of that, he gets the production in those huge impact, big moment plays himself. And that's why I really like him. So hopefully he stays healthy. It's weird that he's on the Vikings. I still keep he's really on the Vikings right now. So excited to watch that. Hopefully he stays healthy because he was injured last year. Then Danielle Hunter at number 6, who, he was one of the fastest pass rushers in NFL history to get X amount of sacks. But these last 2 years have been unfortunate for him. That's a tough projection too, because if he's hurt the last 2 years, some may say he's probably going to get hurt again. 2 different injuries, though. That's the thing. 2 totally different type of injuries. So it's not like it's the same thing where, okay, it's a problem, it's going to happen again. So that's where I may be optimistic on him staying healthy. And he was off to, we didn't see him at all 2 years ago, but last year he was off to an incredible start as well. He's about to be at the top of the NFL, or he was, and getting after the quarterback, and he stops to run at a high level as well. So, maybe banking on him staying healthy, and we got the Vikings pass rush duo could be elite if it's healthy. That's the question there. Khalil Mack got to stay healthy as well. I'm excited to watch him on a new team. Maybe some more fire under him. The Bears situation going to the Chargers situation, because when he first came to the Bears, it was like, wow, like insane. Like it wasn't just Aaron Donald all by himself as a defensive player. It was Aaron Donald and Khalil Mack, at least in my opinion. So new team. It's just, if he stays healthy, he could be back to number 1. He really could be back to number 1. Maybe he's taking a step down a little bit, and then the injury concern, so that's really why we didn't put him up. Other guys getting better, but I'm excited to watch it for sure. We actually have back-to-back Chargers here, so I have Joey Bosa, which I could see Khalil Mack being better than Joey Bosa. He has been most of his career, and which is different lengths of careers there. But Joey Bosa at 4. And he was a guy in the past where it's like you'd get this pressure, but he couldn't really finish and get the quarterback down. Maybe need a little bit more quickness boost. But I saw something going at the end of last year too, and I liked that they were actually kind of putting him at more of a. He's an edge rusher, but they were lining up over the tackle, inside the tackle, not just off the edge. So, and he was very disruptive. All over the place, really. Now you get Khalil Mack in there, maybe a little bit better interior defensive line. So this could be the time where Joey Bosa gets going. So we had back-to-back Vikings. We had back-to-back Chargers. We got back-to-back Bosas now. Nick Bosa comes in at number 3. The younger, but I do think is better just because a little bit more juice, a little bit more athleticism there for Nick Bosa. Another one of those guys that just makes the big impact plays at the right time. I think you say that for a lot of these guys, but really these top 3 guys here. So I'm going to go Bosa at number 3. It's just good to see him healthy and playing some really good ball there. Hopefully we see that this year. Myles Garrett at 2, which I could argue at 1 because it's one of those guys that he definitely already broke out. But what he can become, he can become the best defensive player in football, one of the best pass rushers of all time, his freaky ability. So you can just see him having like 20 sacks very easily and being the number 1 guy if he plays every week. So I could see him being 1. It was tough for me. It's just what is even more tough than deciding TJ Watt or Myles Garrett, because I think everyone's in the same boat. It's extremely tough. What's even more tough is not putting TJ Watt number 1 right now after what he's able to do. Every year, every game, and again, those just massive impact plays that he makes. It's like they need somebody to show up on this specific play. There's TJ Watt, So even though Myles Garrett is, I kind of was debating myself. It's so tough to not put Watt number 1, but everything's different every year, and that's the beauty of it. But we know who the top tier talents are obviously here, so everybody does. So I got Watt at 1, but that'd be an interesting debate there. A lot of good passers, a lot of good guys left off this list. Same went for the interior defensive line, which that video was yesterday. So we got a playlist full of all of these player rankings by position. We're going to finish up. We got linebacker, Micah Parsons. I have with the linebackers. If you didn't catch that, probably did. And then we got corner safeties, and we'll rank units, maybe some duos, and then we're going to rank all the offenses, all the defense, things like that as we approach the season here. So full NFL coverage here. Join us for all that. Like, subscribe, turn notifications on. Follow us on Twitter at GoDosNFL. Link down below. Very important to follow that. But that is going to do it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.